Good morning. Welcome to a special edition, a Wednesday edition of the Kurre and Klapow show, man. What's going on?
Nothing. Spring break. Plant sperm all over me. Did you see my picture? Yeah. Was that just the greatest picture? Like, it was just it's floating in the pool.
Tell people what you're talking about.
We're all, we're all covered in. I learned this from my daughter, by the way, when she was like 12.
Yeah.
She's like, Dad, in biology we learned that the pollen that you see is not the pollen that affects your allergies or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really the leftover sperm. And I remember thinking, okay, stop. A, I never thought about that. B, that's gross. C, don't say that anymore because you're my daughter.
Yeah.
Don't say that. But in my pool, it congealed.
Together. They all swam together. Yeah.
It congealed so that it wasn't just a coating. It looked like.
Is that the first time there's been sperm in your swimming pool?
No, but the first time it looked like that. Oh, that kind of. Oh, no, stop! Come on.
Oh, well, I'm sure there's been some swimmers in your pool, right? It's heated. You can go year round.
No, I can't. I don't go year round. It's too expensive.
You never made love in your pool? Whatever.
No.
Seriously? Mm-hmm. I know it's not healthy for women, but it's not.
Yeah, because No, I haven't. Not in my pool. Not when I'm not of this age.
How old is your son and daughter?
20 and 22. That's not how they came about.
I'm not saying that.
One was on the honeymoon. One was planned because of age immediately after. Oh, okay.
All right, we got a lot to get into. It's a special day here. First of all, we're doing our show on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. Because we couldn't wait, because at the request of you and Fox 6, because we're going to be on Fox 6 at 9:30 this morning. They want to talk about the Will Smith thing, and of course we have some great angles on that, so we'll talk about that, and by tomorrow it's probably... Yes. Well, it's going to be going on for a while, but people are still talking about it. I love this portion of this, because right afterwards, everyone's got a knee-jerk, everyone's got to say how they feel about things, and then... Again, you may not hear any new information, but 2 or 3 days later, you're kind of checking it back a little bit, and you're kind of like, okay.
Well, you're thinking.
And you're thinking, yeah. But everyone's got to get out there as soon as possible, let them know, and then everyone kind of backtracks a little bit. And that's what we're going to do here on the show. We're going to go through all the facets of it.
You know what it is? Oh, my God. It is yet another, this is your whole devil thing.
Yeah.
Just let's load in the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Let's load in all of the political stuff. Let's load in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now we have a assault, if you will, at the Oscars. It's the things that are happening are incredibly unprecedented.
This reminds me a little bit to make some type of connection here. We talked about Vladimir Putin's mistress or his wife or whatever she is that lives in Switzerland. We talked about how women really control this world. They do.
Yeah, they rule the world. I think Beyonce made a song.
And I think Jada is controlling him as well. We'll talk about that, because a lot of women. I was really surprised by how many women came out and said, "Damn straight, protect your woman. Do whatever it takes to protect your woman." And I'm like, this goes right back to the same thing we've been saying for 7 years. Things that are cool when you're 25, things that ain't cool when you're 53.
Well, and read and context.
Watching porn, going to spring break, getting drunk, getting stoned, and now let's add fighting. When you're 25, you want to fight for your woman, you're 25 years old. When you're 53, you've been married for 25 years, not a good.
And the slap thing had a little drama too.
No,
they were saying.
What guy slaps? Punch you.
Well, no, because they were saying that's the ultimate disrespect.
Slapping?
Yes, it's the ultimate disrespect versus a fight.
See, in football, you fight, you punch. In baseball, you slap.
Right. Well, they were saying that a lot of people were saying he should have had a white glove.
Yeah. If you're going to go up there, and I'll tell you what, he knocked him good. It was almost like Chris had his face out to be smacked. He got him.
I don't understand, and they've analyzed this crazy. We won't go into the psychological piece. To me, this is more the reflexive piece. It's really amazing when you watch this over and over again that Chris Rock had no initial startle sort of prep response. Although people are saying, well, he's Will Smith, he didn't think anything was going to happen. But to be honest with you, afterwards, call it great acting, call it can you imagine? He didn't even flinch.
He smacked the shit out of him too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how he did that. And then, one of the things you notice is Chris Rock turns to, whatever, the orchestra or whatever to try to, it's kind of resetting.
No, he deserved an Oscar for pulling that off.
That's what I mean.
For going through it. The other thing I thought was interesting is, and someone brought this up because a lot of people still think it's
because it looks. I mean, I agree.
And he kind of had a smirk on his face a little bit, but you go frame by frame. It wasn't. We know that now. Unless we're still not in on the joke, but I can't imagine it being fake. But the other thing is, most of the time, have you been smacked before?
Yeah.
I have too. The first thing you do is usually.
Well, that's what I mean.
And he didn't
nothing.
Yeah, it was.
His speech didn't stop.
No, he was great. I mean, all he said was he just smacked the shit out of me, and that was it. I could certainly see where some people thought, it was a joke, but then when Will started saying what he was saying in the crowd, a lot of black people have come out and said, no, those are fighting words, man. That black man saying that to another black man, that is like, don't push me or I'll come back up there and kill you. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Are we going to talk about Top Gun too, by the way?
No. We have a couple of great concert announcements. One you're going to absolutely love. The other one you're probably going to be surprised by.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about that. We got that coming up. But I do want to mention that yesterday, the Will Smith defense was used yesterday in a Virginia court law, in a courtroom.
There's already a...
Yeah. Attorney Dirk Paget told jurors during closing arguments that William Rene Ray was on trial on 2 counts of first-degree murder, simply snapped, just like the actor did when he smacked Chris Rock. He used the Will Smith defense. He said, things you wouldn't ordinarily do. Like Will Smith. I bet he wishes he could take it back, but you can't. You can't unbreak a stick. He talks about Smith snapping. In court Tuesday, Paget maintained his 25-year-old client similarly
he was 25. Okay.
Similarly lost 25. There you go. Similarly lost his cool when he stabbed Eric Surface 44 more than 20 times and killed him, then drowned a 42-year-old April Barnicoat in her own bathtub.
I gotta stop. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing. That's terrible. That's terrible. I apologize.
He said he just snapped.
No, I apologize
So he stabbed
because
her
I'm
20 times and then drowned her in a bathtub.
That's not the same. He
Then
literally used the Will Smith. That's not the same.
He called it the Will Smith defense. And then he sprinkled in some Teddy Roosevelt, said, when the wolf rises in the heart, it is the hardest to calm down.
Come on. I have many friends who are attorneys, and they're awesome, and they're wonderful, and they're smart. They're smart as all get out. But, that's like a psychologist doing something stupid and making a bad name for all psychologists.
Yeah.
Come on.
The defense strategy did not work. The jury found him guilty on both counts. But there you go.
Could you see the prosecutor there? It's probably just going, I can't even believe.
That's okay. We've extinguished everything we can. We're going to go one more shot.
We're going
it's
nuclear.
So fresh.
We're going to Will Smith.
We're going to Will Smith defense. I love that. We'll talk about these concerts, and we also have a couple other things I want to bring into that we'll get into. First, birthdays today. Special Wednesday edition here at the Kurre and Klapow Show. By the way, you can watch it on Facebook Live, and if you're wanting to hear it again, you can podcast it through Spotify. All of our shows, Adaptive Parish, fantastic encore show last night. We have Blues on Monday on Thursdays. We have Livewire Wednesday later on tonight. We have Mission Minded with Michael Coleman going on today. We have the Damon Johnson Show. We have the Classic Hip Hop Show. We have Dark Side of the Preach on Monday. You can hear all those shows on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search Tony Kurre Radio. Celine Dion, birthday today.
She's got to be pushing 56?
54, very good. I thought you'd say 60.
I loved her until I saw, it was sort of like a Steve Perry moment.
Yeah.
Not till I saw her, just saw her.
Yeah.
It saw her perform. She's cringy.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not.
She's very dramatic.
Yeah. That's
overly dramatic.
But that's what I mean. It's not.
Like she's into her own dramatic.
Yeah. That ruined the whole,
she believes her own crap, yeah.
I can't listen to it.
Yeah.
You can see, I'm just going to pop here. You listen to Adele songs,
yeah.
But then you see Adele and you're just like, oh, she's beautiful. Yeah. And but it has, well, and Celine Dion has had pain and she's had trauma, whatever. But it's so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's cheesy.
She's got her own Caesars Arena there. Eric Clapton. Happy birthday to Eric.
Could they all have fallen in the same? He's 74?
77.
Okay.
MC Hammer.
Oh, my God. MC Hammer's 72?
He's 60.
That's interesting.
Warren Beatty.
He's 80.
Some big ones today. He's 85.
Oh, my God.
First guy to come visit me when I was on the Billboard back in 1990. Gene Stallings' first year, and I stayed on that Billboard till Gene Stallings won a.
Gene was the first guy to come visit you?
No.
Oh.
Gene Stallings' first year, though, but he lost his first 3 games. Was the first guy to come up and see me. Has a birthday today. He was playing down at the Comedy Club Stardome down on Green Spring.
Sinbad.
Paul Reiser.
Really?
Paul Reiser was in town, and
you came up there?
Bruce Ayers said, "Do you want Paul to come up?" I said, "Hell yeah!" And Paul came up, and of course he was doing the Mad About You thing, and was big time and doing some stand up. And also, and I think this is interesting because people don't realize this, because whenever you talk about Jethro Tull, people are like, "I love that guy." Well, you literally can love that guy because Jethro Tull was actually a dude.
Really?
Did you realize that?
That's
a little rock and roll trivia here. A lot of people go, Jethro Tull was a band. Jethro Tull was actually a pioneer of modern British agricultural.
Yes.
Back in the late 1600s, early 1700s.
About that.
And that's where Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull got their name from. So when you say Jethro Tull, you're talking about the band or the man.
Wait, is it his birthday? He's like
It's his
400,
birthday today.
300.
Like 400 years old. Today's National Doctors Day.
We love our doctors.
We do. Today is Manatee Appreciation Day.
Love a good manatee.
And today is World Bipolar Day.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh.
So there you have it.
Bipolar's nasty.
Yeah. We got some concert things to get into.
Okay.
The Foo Fighters announced yesterday they were going to cancel their tour, obviously, because of the Taylor Hawkins news. Man. I mean, I was out of town for a couple of days and saw the news, and I was like, dude, 50 years old. I sent you an excerpt from an interview that I just done earlier this year about he had an overdose issue. I think it was 2003.
You've talked about this a lot,
sad.
but you talked about this a lot, you know, and it's obviously it's the stigma with rockers. But as soon as you hear it, at his age, my first thing, and I'm sure a lot of people were like, okay, OD, which I felt actually terrible. I felt really bad.
It's okay.
That was my first.
Because you're not supposed to die at the age of 50.
Well, no, but I mean, I was like, okay, then, and then I was, no, I said to you, maybe it was, you know, people have aneurysms. Again, they have aneurysms, they go out running, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then I saw the interview, and then, you know, whatever, 10 substances in his body. You know what's really interesting about that? I was going to say this to you. Talk to Jules about this. Those substances that were in him, or at least what they reported, at appropriate levels, you could have all of those in you.
Yeah.
I mean, the marijuana, let's just put that on record. Everything else was antidepressant, pain medication.
Opiates.
Oh, well, there was one other one, but you know what I mean? Benzos for anxiety. Like, I remember thinking, when I looked at the list, I was like, there's a lot of people, to be honest with you, that don't have an addiction who have those kinds of medications.
And he was in Bogota, which was kind of like...
Well, yeah, okay. that whole...
Now, the thing that bothered...
You think it was foul play?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No, but because he even said in that interview, which was just done several months ago, that he believed the myth of sex, drugs, rock and roll, living hard, living fast, and dying young. And it's kind of like... And then he had mentioned the fact that he had his overdose a few years back, and he didn't say he cleaned up. He didn't say he wasn't doing drugs anymore. He didn't say he wasn't drinking anymore. But it sounded like he had learned his lesson.
Yeah.
And when people start talking about learning their lesson, it always scares me a little bit because, listen, man, we had Damon Johnson on our show a million times. He does a show on our radio station on Tony Kurre Radio. You get the Tony Kurre Radio app. He does it every Friday. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how some of these rock and rollers do it. I really don't. Now, when you have a wife and you have children in play, that changes. It certainly changed my life. It changes how you look at things.
Yeah.
And you're like, you may not want to live for yourself, but you start living for your kids and your wife, and you want to support them.
Well, he kind of alluded to that, right? About becoming a suburban dad. I mean, the interview to me
you can take the
was
tiger
confusing.
out of the jungle, but you can't take the jungle out of the tiger. Reading back on that, I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
Because he knew it. I mean, he had an overdose.
Yeah.
When you have an overdose, it's like getting your first DUI. You're kind of like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. Now you ramps back up 6-7 months later because you get stupid again.
Think about Dave Grohl. I've thought about this a lot. I thought about Dave Grohl. I mean, obviously it's a traumatic experience to have somebody, one of your best friends, but then, I was like, crap. First it was Kurt Cobain. Then, it's just, think about what this does to a guy like Dave Grohl in terms of his perspective on life. You know, he's literally, his career has been sort of, I don't even know how to word, not developed, but woven in between now two of his dearest friends that both define him and define his career and define the traumas in it.
What I thought was interesting too in that interview is it sounded like David Grohl is a real pain in the ass to work for.
Yes. Well,
he's a perfectionist. You know, he said everything goes through Dave's vision. Now he allowed Taylor to go out, and because outside the other guys in the band, Taylor was the one guy that was kind of the crazy guy. Always had a smile on his face. He'd let him get out in front of the band. He was you know, and he appreciated that. But he also had some side projects that he was doing in his own band that he was doing his own thing with, and it sounded like, you know, he's a great guy to work for, incredibly loyal to his bandmates, but also a perfectionist, and not a lot of musicians are that way. But I'm just kind of like, dude, how many times has this got to happen? But I don't understand. I can be honest with you, I don't think I could pull it off. I don't think I could be in a band, be on the road, 150 dates out of the year, be in hotel rooms, and have the temptation of everything that brings itself.
Well,
I mean,
we've talked.
I've seen it too many times, Josh. I've seen it too many times, man. There's people constantly trying to tempt you with all kinds of things.
Well, and that's
you
not...
get that power trip, you're a rock and roller.
Dude, that's not just rock and roll. It's everything.
No matter how messed up
it's
you
celebrity.
are. Yeah, no matter how messed up you are, the adrenaline rush of 50,000 people will get you through. You will get through it. That's why you can see Hank Williams Jr. down an entire body.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's to offset it.
Yeah.
Or it's not to offset it. It offsets it.
And a lot of people would say, and I've explored this, and I've felt this on occasion, certainly not at that level, but a lot of people would say, you know, it feels so good to perform for people. And a lot of these guys have anxiety issues too. They're introverts, and you know, and they get out and they pull it off, and they explore and talk about this high. Lawyers have it after they win cases. Everyone that gets out in front of big crowds, they feel this adrenaline rush.
You've had it.
Yeah, a million times. And you talk about just how good it feels. It's a natural thing. Your body's, and you're like, okay, then why isn't that enough? Because you always want to get higher. You're always chasing that dragon.
Well, except for the key features.
Yeah, then you only put the best stuff in your body,
right?
And you don't get greedy. That's the most amazing thing.
That statement by Keith Richards, I forgot to tell you this in the last show. It reminded me of Spinal Tap.
Oh, yeah.
Why is this a special amp?
How can you be 78 and not die? Now he's falling out of coconut trees. He snorted his father's ashes. He talks about not getting greedy.
He only uses the best, and he never gets higher. Yeah, I mean, you have to. This is, I mean, it doesn't tie back to the Will Smith thing, but the vast majority of us will never know the highs or the pressure of being a public person, being a superstar.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't matter, man. You could be, it ranges from politicians all the way, anybody who is recognized and known by the public is at risk for any of these things. And in particular, what I think is really interesting about this, maybe it's different for musicians, but I don't think so. There are people who say, no, it's not. There's people who say, I want to be adored by fans.
Yeah.
I want to feel that love. I've said it. My one thing, or bucket list thing, is to stand in front of 70,000 people and just say, hello, LA, or whatever. I mean, we all that. But the vast majority of people who end up in that position, that's not why they're doing it, right? They're musicians who are creative and developing something, and it happens. They're athletes who, the athletes are not, I started playing basketball so that I could play in front of 1 million people. So you have this like skill that the business person, the business man or woman who says, I want to create this empire, right? I want to change the world with my business. And the next thing they know, they're a celebrity because everybody's looking at them. Bezos is a good example. Do you really think Bezos or Bill Gates or Zuckerberg, like, look at them. I am sure, even though I don't know them, that they didn't start off going, I just want to be famous.
No, yeah.
And so what you do is you get people who, all kinds of walks of people who are in this bizarro situation, and all the weaknesses come out, all the insecurities, and I would argue that it's nobody is immune from it. Mm-hmm. Stick you out there, stick me out there, stick anybody out there. And so the question becomes, once you get out there, what are you doing to manage it? Barbra Streisand pukes. Adele has panic attacks. You know what I'm saying?
Once you experience it too, you want it again. Ask high school kids that play football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Aldo Greco talked about retiring after 20 years in the National Football League, and he said, man, I'm telling you, that was the hardest part, is not hearing that crowd.
Of course.
When you make the winning kick.
Of course.
He's like...
it's the ultimate in validation.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, if everyone watching right now, just think about the one moment in your life where you had the biggest adrenaline rush. Maybe you just ran a race. Maybe you just saw your son make a winning basket. Right. Whatever, that euphoric... Mm-hmm. part of your brain that you'd never experienced before. You're like, whoa, it's amazing. It's a wonderful thing. It's all natural. But once you get there, man, it's hard not to want it again.
Well, and most of us, we're not on a life path that allows us for it to happen over again. Like, you know, like you see your kid
3 nights a week.
Well, you see your kid hit a basket, or your son, and when we embrace it, but we never even think about, ooh, I wonder if I could have that again and again and again. Mm-hmm. Not really. Now, I'll tell you something else, though. I think this is interesting. We're going a little deep psychologically. Yep. There are also a lot of people, and I think somebody like an Adele or a Barbra Streisand or any of them, anyone that have the anxiety, they don't love it. Like, they love what they're doing. They love the impact they're having on people, but the pressure does get to them. Like, it isn't just I'm embracing all this. Mm-hmm. It's too much, which I would argue, particularly for rockers or celebrities. It's this idea that, oh, crap, it happened once and it was awesome. I got to be on again. Yep. And I'm super nervous, and I can't be super nervous. So what do? I got to calm myself down. Some people meditate, the other people take, you know what I mean? Because now the stakes are high. Mm-hmm. You hear about this all the time in the Super Bowl, mm-hmm. right? All the guys puking.
Yeah.
Or the rookies.
Yeah.
The rookies are playing their first NBA game and they're vomiting. You're like, oh my God, because the thing that got you to where you are, this is next level.
Yeah.
And so I do think there are people who shy away from it. I mean, again, we can go. Bill Gates was one.
Sure. No, there's Jamie McMurray, who's a great NASCAR driver, been for years. I got a chance to meet him and spend an evening with him down at the Daytona 500 several years ago. And we had a group of about 20 of us who'd won this thing with Crown Royal, and he needed to speak in front of us. Couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. I'm like, dude, you race every Sunday in front of a million. He's like, dude, I am the biggest, and I couldn't believe he told me, I'm the biggest introvert that you'll ever meet. He is, I'd rather run a 1,000-mile race on 3 tires than have to get in front of your group of 20 people and talk to people.
See, I think racing, though, is particularly interesting, right? I mean, talk about it. You can be an introvert.
I'm by myself. I'm alone.
Yeah.
I'm just talking to my guy. I'm doing. He goes, but I hate the victory lap stuff. I hate,
So that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
But that is
we think that people are always in front of crowds. Always love being in front of crowds. They do love the adoration. They love the response, and they love all those things. But there's a lot of people like that Miller that's the same way. So, but I was thinking about all the rock and rollers we've lost. The 27 group and everything else. You're kind of like, dude, and just
Well, now we're going to lose them. Now we're going to lose them because they're 77 and 80.
And an overdose in this particular case wasn't like, I'm not saying that he didn't have issues, but it wasn't a suicide. It wasn't one of these things where he was trying to mask something else. It could have just been that he was sitting in a room, had the night off, getting ready to do the show the next night, and just went too far. And again, you're in Bogota, and you're thinking, wow, you probably get some pretty good stuff there too, right? Also, Rick Springfield.
What happened? Men
at Work and John Waite are going on the road.
I mean, the John Waite.
I thought you'd be into that.
No, John Waite.
Men at Work?
I hate Men at Work.
Really?
Oh, it's irritating. It's 80s irritating.
Working Class Dog is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, so Rick Springfield's going on the road.
I mean,
would you go to that show?
No.
I saw Colin Hay with the Ringo Starr's Oslo band. It's pretty good.
I didn't. Men at Work. I mean, I'm sure
they had a bunch of hits.
What?
They had a bunch of hits.
Yeah, I didn't. It's like Toto Africa. I like Toto, but I don't like.
To me, I'm like John Wayne could carry his own.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I would
what are
have
you doing with those knuckleheads?
Because you know why? It's what you said, which is everybody's really old and tired.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to carry the whole. Like, let's just do it together.
No, and Rick's had some work done too. He looks weird.
Oh, he's had too.
He's starting to look like Steven Tyler a little bit.
He said, yeah. Well, Steven Tyler needed to have the work because of his natural.
Yeah.
Rick didn't. Rick needed to age.
Yeah.
You know who's on tour and just apparently doing amazing are the Eagles.
Yeah.
And they're all, like, they still sound, every review I've seen of them, they're like, they still can hit the notes. They still sound like you're just waiting, and Glenn Fry's son and
Vince Gill.
They're like, oh my God, these guys have literally not changed.
No, they're fantastic.
I mean, is there any band? I mean, I guess you could say this. Maybe this.
Sometimes it almost sounds like you're listening to one of their albums. So now that they're playing the whole Hotel California thing from start to finish, it's fantastic. We also heard this morning, I saw this on my WBRC Fox 6 News app, that Garth Brooks is coming back to town. I didn't read the story.
Right.
Yeah, he's coming back for an historic appearance here in Birmingham.
Eric Church was just here. I know we don't do country,
I'm
but
glad you brought that up, because Eric Church is supposed to be playing in San Antonio on Saturday.
he's playing here last.
It's his only show in his entire tour. I think it may be the first time he's played in San Antonio. He canceled today.
Why? COVID?
He's a big North Carolina fan.
Oh, that's.
Does that take some balls?
No, I was going to say that's chutzpah. That, you know what? You can't do that.
He came out yesterday, sold out show, San Antonio, Saturday night.
San Antonio.
So listen, y'all know that I'm a huge North Carolina fan. There's pictures of him with Mac Brown and he's like, much like you guys come to my shows.
Oh, God.
And appreciate, and this is a very special moment for you. This is a special moment for me. I'm not missing the North Carolina Duke game. This is the first time
they'll
play.
Is he refunding the money?
He is, but he's not going to play a show there. And country fans are pissed.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, nothing to knock Birmingham. And I thought it was great that Eric Church was playing here, and I love, the great, we need to get more stars and stuff. Like, I almost could see it canceling a Birmingham show.
Yeah.
This is freaking San Antonio. It's not, I don't know, it's not Boston. Like, even Boston, I can see, dude. I mean, they have a country,
Fans are like, what the hell? I bought your tickets. Did you? And of course, they've never played each other in the NCAA tournament, period. It'll be the 100th time they've played each other since Mike Krzyzewski's been there. I can certainly understand that he wanted to be, and it's going to be like the hottest basketball ticket probably in the history of basketball.
But he can almost watch the whole game, because he doesn't go on till what, 9? When does a headliner typically go on?
Depending on whether you have an opening act, but 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it wouldn't work because he's gonna miss the end of the game.
Well, he wants to be there. He's gonna be at the game.
Oh, he's gonna be at the game.
Oh, he's gonna be at the game.
Oh, of course, he's Eric Church.
Yeah, he's Eric Church. He ain't watched on TV.
I was trying to think about that. God, that takes some. I can't even imagine what his management.
Now I kind of appreciate the fact that he's being honest.
No, I know, but
he could have said he was sick. Could have said, of course, he's going to be seen on television, so he couldn't pull that one because he's going to be a celebrity. But to cancel a concert so he'd go check out his North Carolina Tar Heels.
Has that ever happened? I mean, obviously, people have lied, but they're sick, right? We've heard COVID. Somebody died, God forbid.
Yeah, but he's going to be seen on TV. He can't pull that off.
That's what I'm saying.
If he was going to be sitting at home in his man cave watching the game, he could say, listen, things aren't working well, or we're not selling tickets or whatever. But the fact that he's canceling the concert...
Can he be sued?
I doubt it. I'm sure someone probably will. But he said, much like you fans, cannot wait to see me play. It's a very special moment. This is just as important for me to see my North Carolina.
Do you know this? I always throw these things out. Did he go to North Carolina?
I don't know if he did or not, but he's a huge North Carolina fan. He doesn't miss games if he can't, and obviously this is a historic moment.
Yes. That just rocked my... I don't even know what to make of that. That's crazy shit. Like
concerts. So we've had Elton John cancel here. We've had Rod Stewart cancel here. And most of the we're a lousy
well, that's why I said it
we're a walk-up town, and,
right.
and bands hate that. That's why we don't get big bands here, because they want to know it's going to be sold out before they get here.
Right.
We mentioned Eric Clapton on his one tour that he played. I think the last time he played here, this was the only place that didn't sell out. So a lot of times, unforeseen issues.
Right.
It's usually because tickets aren't selling very
Right.
well, and if you're Elton John, you're like, screw Birmingham, I'm not going then.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I read that story. I was like, because a lot of people can't afford to go to like 4 or 5 concerts.
Well, that's the plan. Can you imagine?
And usually it's like months in advance. You're looking forward to it. It's a Saturday night.
This has happened
in San Antonio.
Well, listen, that's what I was going to say. So I know both my kids had concerts that were canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Right, but this is not, the time. I mean, again, and as a basketball fan, again, but like,
and we're all want to get back out again.
Well, that's what I mean. And you're in a church and it's San Antonio, and you're like, dude, that is some. At least you're honest, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he's not playing Saturday night. Some concert information. Oh, quick break. Do a commercial for me.
Yeah, let me tell you about John Gray. John Gray, Driscoll Gray. John is going to help change your financial status, but he's also going to help change your life. I say that sounds like it's over the top. It is not. You go to his webpage, driscollgray.com. John is there to help you manage your money over the course of your lifetime. And that's not just about investments. And I think that's the most important part. John is not just taking retirement money and putting it into funds. It's all about managing your debt. It's about, I've had John tell me, look, stop putting money into retirement for a minute. You got to put kids in college. Like, John is there to guide you through the difficult financial challenges. Go to his webpage today, driscollgray.com. driscollgray.com. If you go to call him today and he can't get you, he's probably talking to me.
There are so many different ways we can go with this Will Smith thing. We'll be on Fox 6 here in about an hour at 9:35 to talk about Janice and Dubs and Mickey and.
You better congeal your thoughts because we only got like 5.5 minutes.
If that much time. I've got my thought process and how I'm going to go with it because again we're only going to have a few minutes, so we need to get after it. And there's like a million different ways we can go here, and that's why you came in this morning instead of a regular Thursday morning. So you can't do this, right? And of course, I read. Normally I don't read a lot of responses from people, but I wanted to kind of get the feeling of where people are coming from. Mm-hmm. And the one that I thought was really surprising was how many women were like, "Damn straight, my husband's gonna stand up for me." Even Jalen Rose came out and said, "There ain't a married man out there that would say I would have done the same thing." Well, and I'm like, because if someone's making fun of your wife, and you don't defend her, then you're not a good husband, which is not true.
Well, particularly at a comedy place. Again, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. When you put it in general terms, if somebody said something bad to your wife, would you not defend them? Well, yes, of course I would defend them. Yeah. That doesn't explain the Will Smith situation.
I worked in a lot of bars for a long period of time.
There you go.
And out of every 10 fights, 9 of them were over a woman. Sure. It was always over a woman. And out of those 9 times that there were fights, 9 for 9, the woman ended up leaving the dude. Because she got off on it. She was excited about it. Wow, I can't believe your man fought for you, blah, 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 blah. Maybe she gave him a reason to. A lot of times I'd see women that would have jealous boyfriends that would instigate things to get their boyfriends to react for them, which is just toxic as hell.
That's not right.
And so for Jada, and again, we didn't see, and I said, did you see some of the pictures of her reaction while he was smacking him on stage? Because we didn't see those parts. Now some of those pictures are coming out. Evidently, Will laughed at the joke.
Yes. Right. That's what's so weird.
She rolled her eyes.
Yes.
And then he looked back over her, and she gave him the look like, you better do something about it.
Yeah, this isn't funny.
This isn't funny. And she was like, and that's when he got up, walked on stage, came back. And
it's so like, again, this is the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar article that he wrote. And what I think is so interesting about Kareem's article is he sort of takes you through every choice point that Will could have made.
Yeah.
Because, like, think about this, too. Talk about, you can talk about it was impulsive. Well, impulsive, kind of. Because, think about what you have to overcome. Impulsive is, I don't know, you say something to me on here, you and I get in a verbal fight, and I knock this plant over.
Yeah.
That's impulsive.
Yeah.
There's 4 billion people watching you on television. Mm-hmm. You're sitting however many, 20 feet away.
Yeah.
Your wife gives you the look. Mm-hmm. It's not an impulse to stand up. Think about it. Stand up, walk 20 feet down, decide I'm not going to say something, but I'm going to walk 20 feet down, and then I'm not only going to not could have pushed. I'm going to slap him.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole lot of processing that has to happen from the time that Jada gives you the look to the time until it actually occurred. It's not impulsive. It is his better judgment when overcame. Like,
he could have stayed seated and said,
"There's a million things."
He could have said, "Knock it off." He could have cussed. He could have done whatever he wanted to do. He could have walked up.
Yes.
Pointed a finger, and that would have gotten it done. Or could have put his hand on his shoulder and walked him off and said,
"Yep, we've seen Kanye do that to Taylor.
I'm going to kill you after the show if you don't knock it off." There's all kind. Of course, Chris Rock, being a comedian, is going to use that. Comedians will use any type of publicity in their acts, and I'm sure Chris Rock, I think he's doing a sold-out show later on tonight in New York. I'm sure that this is going to be great fodder for his stand-up routine. Because everyone's going to want to hear about it. And he hasn't said a word about anything yet, by the way. And he's not going to press charges, which I think is great. I hate guys that press charges because they get slapped in the face. I know Jim Carrey's like... And he made an interesting point. This is going to be something we see for the rest of our lives. This slap is going to be seen a trillion times. And every time it is, Chris Rock has a point to where he should...
You know what this is? As long as we're in March Madness and my wife's a Kentucky fan.
Yeah.
This is the Christian Leitner.
Every
Oscars is going to open up.
It's not a shining moment. It certainly wasn't. And then the fact that he ends up winning the Academy Award funny, like 5 minutes later.
Yes! And everybody, and this is, I think, what a lot of people were upset about. Were like, and I was watching, and I was watching the speech, and I just kept waiting. You know, I'm a big Will Smith fan. Yep. I think he's, if you know his backstory, genius, got into Stanford, just really. And I'm waiting, and I'm he's tearing up, and he's talking about protection, and he's talking about the role that he played, and I'm like, I don't know about myself, I'm like, I'm literally going, okay, all right, okay, perfect. Put the sentence in here. Put the sentence in here. And then he was just done.
This feels like...
Something's weird. I still feel like something's weird.
And again, Chris Rock has been hammering on them for a while now. Regina Hall also threw out a joke earlier tonight. Come on up, studs, blah, 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 blah. She's catching a lot of hell for doing the whole pat down during the COVID thing. Which a lot of people were like, dude.
That was weird.
What happened to the Me Too thing? It's a two-way street here, which I thought was really interesting. I thought it was funny.
There were a lot of uncomfortable... Those guys looked very uncomfortable.
They did. And then, again, you throw in the fact that the Academy Awards is probably one of the most boring shows to watch. Well, this has turned into an MTV type of broadcast show. And it's going to help ratings. Next year, people will be wanting to watch and see a fart man drops out of the ceiling. But this feels like to me that they've been married for 25 years. Yeah, they have kids. They were on a break. She has an affair. Yeah. I don't know if he's cheated or not. She has an affair. She lies about it. Then she admits to it. We were on a break. Then Will comes out, says he's done psychedelics 14 times to cleanse his brain.
Right.
And that...
Well, it didn't work.
Marriage should not be a prison. And then we have this open marriage now. Whatever the hell that is. It's an easy joke. It's easy to catch on. Because if you're married, marriage, the institution itself, the sacrament of marriage, isn't an open situation. You're marrying one person. You're doing that under the guidance of God and whatever church you're in, and that's the deal. You're with that person. Mm-hmm. If you decide you want to be in an open relationship before you get married, it's a totally different thing. I haven't seen too many open relationships ever work because someone's feelings get hurt. Right. And my feeling is that he loves Jada. Mm-hmm. He wants to be with her exclusively. He doesn't want to do anything else. And she's got different thoughts. And this was desperation at the worst moment where he had to prove to her that I'm the man for you and that I'll look after you. And I think she's bringing him down. She went on the Red Table show, a show she got paid for, and put it all out there. Mm-hmm. She just regurgitated everything they've been through from their marriage standpoint. And then he had to respond by, yes, things of blah, 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 blah. She's running that show. And I think that... He's scrambling. He is scrambling, and he's losing her. Yeah. And I think whenever... I've seen this a million times. If this makes you happy to have a three-way with my best friend,
Well, yeah.
Or if you feel like you need to take a break and go sow your oats, it never works out.
Well,
that way. And again, I don't know if Will Smith has cheated. I don't know. Maybe he's cheated with 1 million other people. Yeah. We don't know about it. I don't know.
That is the other problem, right?
But when a man is willing to slap another guy on television or in a bar or anything else, it reeks of desperation to me.
It looked, yeah. I mean, their history. This is always so hard. I'm always so hesitant about going down this road because every time I'm about to say something, then I'm thinking, well, I don't know about this, and I don't know about this, and I don't know about this. But if you look at what we've seen publicly, obviously they've had some rocky, interesting, weird situations. Mm-hmm. They are both, I think, sort of seen and judged as very intelligent, reasonably stable, like psychologically stable. These are not people that are in the headlines constantly with doing drugs.
And they're a rarity that they've been married for as long as they have.
This is like Tom Hanks and his wife-ish kind of thing. But I do think that particularly after some of the stuff came out from the Red Table, and I do think as they were openly as open as we as the public can know, talking about some of these things, they reek of this is a relationship that needs a hell of a lot of work. Which, let me say, is no different than any other relationship. Because like you just said, it's if you could know the stories that happen behind your neighbor's closed doors, mm-hmm. right? As a psychologist, I get to be privy to some of that, and 20 years later, I'm still sometimes like, oh my God,
yeah,
and so. What's bizarre to me is that he did snap. This is the classic, you're grasping at something and you lost your better judgment. And I know there's a lot of women that said, yeah, you damn right, my man should stand up for me. That's different than at the Oscars, in front of 4 billion people, mm-hmm. standing up, walking down, and hitting somebody.
She could have stopped him.
No, I know.
She could have stopped him.
Do you think she knew exactly what he was going to do? See, I think that's the other thing. Because we said that there's a lot of things you just described.
Well, we were waiting for we were waiting for
everybody
to
was.
Get up there and pop a joke. I mean, at least, but I mean, again, it was ad-lib. Chris Rock is better than that. I know Chris Rock has made his entire career out of making fun of people, and he's a great comedian. He's one of the best.
Yeah, he didn't.
It wasn't funny. Of course, he's saying that he didn't know about her condition, her autoimmune deficiency situation with her hair loss, which is kind of hard to believe because she's posted pictures and her daughter.
Yeah, well, and when in doubt, come on, you're smart.
Yeah, don't say nice haircut because they could have just had chemo, So it was a quick little. And it wasn't, I don't know. He's better than that. And certainly Will Smith is better than that. And,
if we are going to go, so I think one of the things that's interesting about this, we will not go this on Fox, because we don't have time. But if we take that scenario, and instead of trying to just unpack it, because we freaking don't know. We don't know. We can, and nobody knows, and we can speculate, and that's all a lot of fun. But let me pivot it just a minute. And let's talk about what you said, because I think what you said has more relevance for the rest of us, which is this feeling that you have as a partner that you're losing them.
Yep.
For a gazillion different reasons. And you kind of go through these unique stages when you feel like you're losing your partner.
Yep.
The first is a sort of an inkling that something is not right. The second is, it's not denial, it's a refusal to believe. It's not denial, we do not have a problem. Even though you know it, it's more of an anger that this person that I'm with, how can you do this? How can this be happening to us? Because we have a good thing. That's it. Then it shifts over to usually blame. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Right, because that makes us feel better, and sometimes we take it, and the problem is we take it way too far. We go, it's not my problem, it's your problem. You're the one who's messed up. And then the spouse goes, or the partner goes, okay, well, I own that. If I'm that messed up, then we don't need to be together. And that is the moment, it's the pivotal moment, where you either have to get real adult about it and go, okay, maybe this is falling apart, or we need to fix this. And usually what ends up happening is there is the moment of panic.
Yep.
And you start doing stupid stuff.
Yep. Now, it's the worst feeling in the world. And there's not a person out there that hasn't experienced it, where you're just head over heels with somebody. Could have been your first love, could have been a week thing, could have been a 25-year thing. And you feel like it's slipping away. And there's nothing you can do to save it. There isn't.
And it's slipping. I think that is the key part. It's not that you woke up one day and they, dear John kind of thing. It's slipping. And so much like slipping, you're grasping. Mm-hmm. Will Smith.
You're desperate. And then you start doing things that are out of your character. And then, and there's nothing you can do to fix it. There's not, you almost hope that maybe she gets hit by a truck and you have to perform CPR on her to save her life, and maybe that'd be enough for her. Think about it. You want to say, you think, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen to her?
Only you can.
How can I save my wife's life?
Yes.
So she knows that without me, she'd be dead meat right now. And I mean,
or that I could, not even that. How can I save my partner's life so I could prove to them how much love I have for them?
We see it in movies all the time.
Oh yeah.
Where the guy's lost a woman, or they're already divorced, and they have to work together again. And they end up falling in love again because she sees what a hero he is. I never saw this side of you before. Over our 25 years of marriage, I've never seen you save an entire city. Now I love you again.
We go there. And what we should be doing, which is the most difficult thing for us to do, which is to own up to the problem. It's the denial of the problem, or the pivot of the problem. This is, our marriage is not slipping apart.
Yeah.
We have other problems. It's your fault. It's my fault. Whatever. That just makes it even. It speeds up the process, because what we don't want to do is sit there and go, crap. We got a problem.
Yeah.
We got a problem, and we got a problem that may not be able to be solved. Because I think that's the other thing that you see with the partner who feels that it's slipping away. Mm-hmm. You do hey, this was for better or worse. This was for better or worse. We're supposed to be together. You're not trying.
Yep.
And it's this realization. This is the moment of adulthood when you realize that regardless of your religion and any of those things, you don't own them.
Yeah.
You can't make them do anything.
And you can't make them love you. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can do everything you possibly can do.
I think there was a love song.
Yeah.
It's a bunny.
The other part of this, I think, is we're going to be on Fox 6 at 9:35 this morning.
We should go that direction.
The other thing I think is really interesting about this is, because of social media, because we all have a voice now,
right?
We are much more disrespectful, and we'll say anything about anything. I mean, we'll slam on people that we don't even know. We'll sit there and point fingers. There's people out there that have monikers or handles that you can't even chase them back, and we have a name for it, trollers.
Yeah.
We have trollers. And I'll go back to the Dean Martin roast. People are like, well, they did it back in Dean Martin days. Well,
no.
and they were great, because we love to see highfalutin, really rich, powerful people make fun of each other. We love that, because as an everyday Joe, I don't get to see that. And it's great. And I think that's one of the reasons why are they hiring Chris Rock to get up there and do that? He's a comedian. He's going to be thrown. Why in the hell do you think the Golden Globes had Ricky Gervais up there and he had carte blanche? He could do whatever he wanted. He said the reason he's not on the Academy Awards is because they want to see everything he's going to say first. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm a comedian. I fly by the.
Somebody asked me about that.
He said they'll never ask me.
But Chris Rock, what was there not a preview of his joke? Of his jokes?
No, that was ad lib.
Okay, so he just
the whole G.I. Jane thing. She was right in the front row, and she was and a lot of comedians do that just to warm up.
Yeah.
They'll point somebody out. Hey, good to see you. Nice haircut. Blah 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 blah.
Well, Amy Schumer was doing it.
She was.
She was great.
And so, there's this thought process between you're a celebrity and you're rich and you're famous, so you're wide open. It's open season on you. I can say and do whatever I want about you. And so that's one thing that maybe Will Smith has closed a little bit from a decency standpoint. Hey, listen, we're not making fun of cancer patients anymore. We're not making fun of, my wife's hair condition. We're not doing that. Which I think is really interesting, because just as a regular compassionate kind of guy, I've certainly made fun of people. I've done stand-up comedy before. You get mocked or you get a heckler in the crowd. They're open season on them, and people love that when you go after them, because they're trying to ruin your act. But I mean, we've been making fun. Billy Crystal did it. we've been making fun of people. Now, Billy Crystal did it in a more respectful kind of way. And if it's coming from someone that you already respect and love,
just like you,
it's okay.
This is you. This is you do it all the time. This is me. You actually, I should take it back. You don't do it all the time. But if you would start picking out my things, my germaphobe, my being too, wound up tight, and all those other things, I'm gonna laugh at it because A, it's true, right? B, I know you and love you, and so it's different. If a stand-up comedian did it to me, I would be incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Hey, you look a little nervous there. What's the matter? Like, I don't like that. Like that, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But it is different at a roast. Mm-hmm. Although I have watched roasts where it's really interesting because you watch them and they do cross. I think they cross a line.
No, they go as far as they can go.
Well, what's interesting?
I mean, the Comedy Central roast, they go as.
I know.
When you agree to be roasted on there, you better be ready.
See, I
think, be hammered.
But I wonder afterwards. I do wonder afterwards at some level, depending on what somebody says. Like there are things that you could say about me that I would go, damn.
But am I doing it to you, or am I doing it at your expense?
Well, you are doing it to me, because if you say it to an audience, let me tell you about.
Am I doing it to get? Because I am guilty of that, and it's backfired on me so many times. Where I'm trying to be funny, and I will make fun of someone, and then I have to apologize to them. Hey, listen, I did that to get a laugh.
Yeah, but that's
sorry. I'm sorry.
It is personal.
Yeah, personal.
It is very personal. Again, and there is a line.
Yeah.
There is a line. I mean, there is a line. I think social media, you're right. Social media has changed the way our brains function when it comes to filtering A, B, empathy.
It'll be interesting to see who the host is going to be for next year's 95th Academy Awards. Do they tone it down a little bit? Do they bring it back? Is it more classy? Do you hear the symphony? Is it, or maybe they go.
Well, let's go. Here's another place.
Maybe they go without.
I'm going to say this. This got to be a big issue, and it's already a big issue, which is I just think is so unfortunate. But you're seeing it on social media. There's race comments.
Yeah.
Who do you bring back? White host, black host, obviously with Amy Schumer and.
Well, that's the other thing I think is interesting coming from a white man, and I don't believe this, but we think that all black guys are friends. It had to be a bit. It had to be because he's black. They have to know each other. They're a minority in Hollywood. They obviously know each other.
Yeah.
This had to be a joke because if it was a black dude and a white guy, or a white guy and a black, that would definitely not be a joke. But because they're two black guys, they must know each other. They must hang out together.
Well, and it's who they are.
Yeah.
Again, when Kanye came up with Taylor Swift,
yeah,
there was nobody, at least none of us were like, look at this.
Yeah.
Everybody in the audience was like, holy uh-oh.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen in this one because it's two different people. I think the other thing that was really interesting to watch actors, and you see this, I think this is interesting when actors are winning awards and they're so nervous. You're watching them shake, and we always think of actors as, well, you shouldn't be nervous. You're standing, and you can see them. They're standing in the paper and they're crying and all that kind of stuff. It was very interesting to watch Crisis Control.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, P. Diddy, like everybody, Denzel, like everybody, you could see. What I thought was really interesting was this was a disaster. This was a crisis. It was a unscripted crisis that everybody who was there had to figure out how we're going to navigate. Yep. You didn't see them go to commercial. Like, you did it. It required the people who were there who are our celebrities. Mm-hmm. We know who Jay-Z is. We know Denzel Washington. And to me, the interesting human piece was, okay, how y'all going to handle this one? Like, we're watching this thing unfold in front of us. And you know what got overshadowed, too? Which I think was really interesting. It's gotten overshadowed. Sean Penn made this whole thing about if we don't talk about Ukraine, we shouldn't have the Academy Awards. Mm-hmm. Well, is anyone talking about that?
Yeah, Mila Kunis is from Ukraine. Got up there and she said a couple things, but never mentioned the word Ukraine.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that was going to be the big thing, which is also really embarrassing for us as a society.
Yeah,
this is the train wreck.
The other thing I think is interesting too, and it's because I've done a lot of stuff at the comedy club. No one's talking about Chris Rock. No one's talking about his traumatization, and it's because comedians make us laugh, and we're on the season,
right?
And so comedians they don't have feelings.
Yeah,
he's going to use this part of his act. he's good.
He's not.
He went backstage, met with some Academy, the president, blah, 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 blah. They sat down for like a half an hour afterwards. The LAPD was there, asked if he pressed charge. He said no. And he just walked off and did his own thing. And it was kind of like...
Yeah, I don't think he's good.
I don't think so either. I mean, Tim Allen's come out. There's been a lot of celebrities going great. Now you can just come up on stage and start slapping the shit out of somebody at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Which is the really weird, because I don't see anybody backing Chris Rock at all. And
well,
it's
they're
kind of like
being new.
You can go there, but you get what you deserve. And so I'm kind of like, that's weird to me.
Well, it's interesting. They're not backing Chris Rock. People are hammering on Will Smith, but they're not backing Chris Rock. There's a difference.
When you spend your life making fun of people, you don't get you don't get any compassion, which is kind of bizarre. It's kind of strange, because they're comedians. It's what they do. And his shows are sold out, so it's kind of like...
Do you think that I don't think Will Smith was in his right mind. I was thinking, do you think he was thinking...
Not a good look for him to be at the Vanity Fair.
Well, that was the other thing.
He's out there dancing.
This is why people...
This
is why people hammer on sort of Hollywood. But it's also, we can make the connection. This is you just saw the couple... I just saw them the other day. They were screaming at each other in the front yard, And now they're at the Booster Club meeting.
Yeah.
Everybody's you're like, what the WTF? Like, what the hell? Like, we know that something's not right. Stop. We don't like that.
No.
We do not like, if something is wrong and we think you're covering it up, we do not like that. And again, I don't know. This is Hollywood. This is Hollywood at its highest level. These are. They're the biggest of the biggest stars. This is big business. I always wonder what, and I always ask this question. Well, what are his people telling him?
Yeah.
Go to the party. You should go to the party.
And a lot of times, if you go to the party and pretend nothing happened, then maybe we think we're making a bigger deal out of it than it really is.
Yeah, but this was a big deal.
This was a huge deal.
Like, you can't. That's what I mean. Again, it's one thing to have a disagreement. You've said that. There's one thing to have we're having a disagreement in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Me and my wife are having a disagreement right now. Come on, stop it. And it's like kind of a thing, but it's not a thing. It's just, it's clear that there is some tension between us. Then, it's okay for us to go to the Booster Club meeting.
Yeah.
Hi. We worked it out. If she throws water in my face, or I break a glass, we can't go to the Booster Club meeting and go, hello.
Yeah.
We've had a conversation about, that's bullshit. You can't do that. The thing I don't understand about it is, and maybe it's from an image standpoint, whose idea was it?
Yeah. A couple other things. First of all, at the Vanity Fair party, a lot of people were saying they did stay away from him because they didn't know what the hell was going to happen.
They stayed away from him because they were not because they thought he was going to hit them. No, because people...
I don't know why they stayed away from him. They were just giving him a lot of room. And
because this was weird.
Yeah, and the second thing is the bartender who was serving drinks at the Academy Awards said they shut the bar down after it happened because no one wanted to drink it again. Everyone was like, I'm good. I've had enough. Which I thought was really interesting.
And they've done, there's memes everywhere.
Because there's a lot of drinking that goes on.
That's right. And then there's memes everywhere. But I do think, and this is not funny, but I thought it was funny. When they're showing everybody's reactions.
Yeah.
Still shots of people's reaction to it. And this is what I think is... I'm trying to think of another time. I mean, there's been moments of award show where people did provocative things, controversial things. I'm just trying to... I can't think of anything that has been so... it wasn't a political statement.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If it's a political statement, then you got everybody who's for it and everybody's against. this caught everybody off guard. Every single person, everybody in there, everybody who's watching, and now every celebrity that they're, you can't, there's nobody going, yeah,
The last point I'll make, and we're going to be on Fox 6 in about 30 minutes.
We're just doing this our warm-up shtick.
This is our warm-up shtick to make sure we know what we're talking about. The other thing I thought was really interesting, and again, I read a lot of responses, normally don't do that, were how many people that, quite frankly, just don't care. And then we live in this society where we put our celebrities so high. I mean, there are websites, just millions of them, that just talk about our celebrities, and people follow the celebrities and their followers, and they buy their skims, and they do this and that, and then we watch our movies. I mean, we idolize celebrities in this country probably more so than any other country on the planet. And how many people are like, and maybe they're trollers. Maybe there's people I saw. Maybe they're people that follow me. They're like, I don't know. I don't even watch. That's why I don't watch anymore. It's boring. I don't like seeing rich, famous people, get awards. It's not something I want to watch anymore. I do watch it because I think it's interesting.
Well, Jules like, I was like, she's like, why? I asked her why she's not watching. She's like, I haven't seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
She's like, why are you watching? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't watch the red carpet thing. I think that's an absolute joke.
What are you wearing? Amy Schumer.
Talk about uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's the most. You look fabulous. I mean, it's the most uncomfortable. It's like, do you even know who the hell you're interviewing? I mean, these schmucks from ET and stuff that get up there. I mean, where do they get these people to do these interviews? And the celebrities are uncomfortable, and they know they have to do it. And they're. I mean, it's just like, really, that was a great movie you were in. I mean, it's like.
Well, then the unfortunate thing is you can ask what you're wearing, and that's the other thing. Let's just go.
What did you take away from your role? It's more like your real life.
Yeah.
What? I mean,
but that's a deep question. I like it. What are you wearing? And then they ask the guy what he's wearing.
What are you wearing?
Right? What are you wearing?
Like
I'm wearing a rented tuxedo.
Guys even know what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Banana Republic. Thanks for interviewing me. I'm going to have my seat now. No, I do think it was good for the Academy Awards from a standpoint that I think more people will be watching next year.
Because I want to see what's going to be.
You also understand that when you're going to have a Chris Rock as a presentator, or Ricky Gervais or whatever, that it's open season. And I do think, and I'm not a celebrity, and I've never been a famous person or a movie star, and a lot of movie stars have said this, we're open season, man. It's open season on us. We have to have tough skin. We have to have tough skin. I'm not saying because people think it's funny. If you listen to the joke, the G.I. Jane joke, it didn't get a very good applause. And I'm telling you, there's one way to shut down a comedian, and that is to have them bomb.
Yeah.
And every great comedian, Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, every one of them has bombed. And they'll remember those bomb days. And there's a lot of comedians that will actually go out to smaller cities and try their material out first to make sure it works, and then they'll hit the big circuit. This may be the last time Chris Rock ad-libs for a while.
Yeah, from as a trauma response.
And I'd be really interested to see what he does on stage when I think his show is tonight in New York. Because people are going to want to hear what he's going to say.
Oh yeah, you can't. But this is like going to the Vanity Fair party.
Yeah.
You cannot just do
He
your.
was writing jokes the minute it happened.
Oh yeah, you had to.
Yeah.
Absolutely had to.
All right, download the Tony Curry Radio app. It's a classic rock station. It's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have a ton of shows. Dark Side of the Pooch, Adapter Parish, with adaptogenist Dr. Alex Hubelin and Dr. Josh Klapow. On Tuesdays, we do Live Wire Wednesday. It's an all AC/DC show brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs. 205-682-2828. 205-682-2828. Great show. We do that show. We have Mission Minded with Michael Coleman. It's a fantastic show. He's the executive director of the Jimmy Hill Mission. That airs on Wednesdays as well. We have Blues All Money with Austin Hanks. By the way, Austin Hanks emailed me and said something very special in LA is happening with him. So he's taking this week off. We will play one of his shows on Thursday night, but he's got some exciting news to share with us. So we got that going on.
Awesome.
We have the Damon Johnson Show. We have Win in Rome with Stuart Rome, the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, 905-7676. Great show that airs on Fridays. We have the Classic Hip Hop Show. You can hear all those shows wherever you get your podcast. We have ours on Spotify. Go to Spotify, search Tony Curry Radio, and listen to all those shows on demand whenever you want. Those things are just floored, man. They're just rocking and rolling. Of course, listen to Tony Curry Radio as well. We'll be on Fox 6 in about 28 minutes. Special thanks to, of course, our good friends at Fox 6 for having us on every single week this week on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday.
It's breaking news.
Breaking news.
Sort of.
Yeah, kind of. He's Josh Klapow. I'm Tony Curry. Thanks for watching here on Facebook Live.